Okay, it is still the 15th of July 2018. Let's continue with the different kinds of violent crime in South Africa. And we will shift gear to home invasions. That happens so much in South Africa. So many lives ruined by home invasions. Let's have a look and see what happened in the last 5 days here. Elderly couple attacked on their home, Reverend Critical in Garsfontein in Pretoria. Let's see here. Our prayers to Nico Rautenbach, a clergy who is currently in the high care unit, Pretoria Hospital, and his wife Elsie, who were attacked and robbed in their house in Garsfontein. What was meant to be an uplifting service by Reverend Nick Rautenbach turned into a life-threatening assault that landed the 81-year-old in ICU. 81-year-old. 81-year-old. Let that sink into people's thick skulls. An 81-year-old beaten almost to death. He's probably going to die. According to his wife, an 80-year-old lady, who was visibly distraught, obviously. Nico was fighting for his life and could possibly undergo a major operation. He's going to die probably. Nico was badly assaulted during a house robbery. You have it, it's a house robbery. On Sunday morning while preparing for the service. Hardcore criminals, recreational murder in South Africa, they love killing the elderly. Because the elderly is just like children, defenseless. They love killing them. Get a nice little kick out of it. Here you go. Man. Right there. What's the next one? Man tortured, brutalized in a house robbery in Kwaggafontein. Let's see where that is. Police in Mpumalanga are looking for information that could lead to the arrest of two men who robbed a house at Vlaklaagte, Kwaggafontein, taking 30 boxes of cigarettes and an undisclosed amount of cash. So I'm assuming probably the guy was running a little tuck shop. And these guys basically robbed him. Is he killed? Brutalized. It is alleged that the victim was asleep when he was awoken by a noise coming from the rooftop. As he was about to shout for help, two men showed up and demanded money. He showed them where the money was, but they said it was not enough. They assaulted him and took the electric device to torture him. Burned him with an iron, clothing iron, let's say that, and even poured boiling water on his face. There you have it. It's probably a white man. They usually don't do that to the black people. Black people, all they do to them is to rape them and burn them. Stab them to death. The suspects took the boxes of cigarettes which he stored in the house for distribution and loaded them into his truck before demanding the car keys. They covered his face with a t-shirt and tied his hands with a belt, assaulted him with a firearm on his head before fleeing the scene. You have it, recreational violence, we like it. Burn his face with boiling water, burning with clothing iron, beat him up. There you have it. That is what they call a house robbery in South Africa. Let that also sink into the thick skulls of these open, liberal-minded people that know nothing about violence. Really. They're the biggest advocates of saying, oh, it's nothing, until their families get ruined, and then suddenly they become the most hateful people and bitter people about it. Yeah, instead of stopping it, they just promote it. Like all these open-minded Europeans living in their bubbles. Manhunt launched. Women fatally shot while sleeping in Rutavi. It's probably a black area. South African police in Rutavi outside of Tzaneen has launched a massive manhunt for the suspects involved in the murder and attempted murder that occurred last night. So the woman was murdered and probably her husband or friends were critically injured in the rural hostels in the black area. It is alleged that the deceased aged 28, was asleep and her partner in a room when they were attacked by a group of armed suspects who started shooting randomly without saying anything to them. There you have it. Random murders, recreational murder. Recreational murder. Let that sink into the people's thick skulls. That's what's happening in South Africa. They call this house robbery. Recreational murder for fun. That's what it really is. During the incident, the woman was shot dead and her 20-year-old partner was shot on his left thigh and he is still recovering in hospital. The police were notified, reacted swiftly, and a manhunt ensued. But up to now, those suspects are still on the run. So they still have no clue who it is and they still have no clue how to find them. And they are not going to find them. Probably going to find them after these guys do another 4 or 5 of these crazy murders. One of the suspects was wearing a black jeans and a blue Uzi jersey. Wow. You know, that can be anybody of like, what, 100,000 people? Really. The motive behind the incident is still not clear at the stage. Recreational murder. That's all it is. Just like that elderly couple. Recreational murder. Same thing. Exactly the same thing. Just like that man in the tub with the cigarettes that got burnt in the boiling water and burnt with iron. Same thing. Exactly the same thing. Children held at gunpoint during Sherwood home invasion. Let's have a look here. Gang of 6 armed robbers held up a group of children, a gardener and another worker in Sherwood home. So that would probably be either white people or Indians. And they have a black gardener as well as a domestic worker at home. So the domestic worker would be looking after the children and the gardener just does the gardening. So what happened here? Let's see. The gang, which was armed with firearms, had initially attempted to cut and climb over the electric fence, but it was too high, so they forced open a wooden pedestrian gate. The gang arrived at the home in Jan Smith's Highway and in a black Mercedes-Benz at around 11 o'clock in the morning. Chances are these children are probably really young. The gardener and worker who were busy repairing a vehicle on the property tried to flee, but one of the robbers managed to chase them and held them up at gunpoint. The other suspects grabbed the pickaxe and attempted to break down the security gate to get into the house. And obviously, let's see what happened here. One of the children heard the commotion and went to the door to investigate, where he was confronted by the suspects. He threw the house remote at the suspect, who used it to open the garage door. The gang then entered the house through the garage door. You have it. And this family will leave, and the gardener and the domestic worker will be out of a job, and that family will be just too happy in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, America, somewhere in Europe, maybe even Brazil or Uruguay. I'll just leave for Chile. That's it. Yep, another one. Recreational violence, happy days. K9 unit arrest house robbery suspects in Port Elizabeth. Let's see here. After receiving information of house robbery, the K9 unit immediately scouted the area for a vehicle taken in the robbery as well as 3 suspects. It is alleged that on Wednesday, 11th of July, 27-year-old man heard noise outside of his front door in Francis Evert Park. When he opened the door, a 20-year-old female known to him was at the door. As he opened the security gate, 2 other males entered the house. So they basically jumped him. Happy days. One male produced a firearm. As always, house robberies in South Africa. His cell phone, a 32-inch TV, gold-colored Opel vehicle was taken. He managed to free himself and alert police. Good, at least they caught them. Locked him away forever. If you're going to be pulling something like this, you should be locked away forever. Really. Just ruining lives. That guy might even actually leave the country as well if he's got an option, who knows. Not sure, he might be just a middle class black man working there. Or if not, otherwise he might be a white man as well, but either way, stuff like this happens to people with options in South Africa, they leave. Doesn't matter what color they are. Yeah, it's a lot of these happening in South Africa. Let's see here. 12-year-old boy found dead at his home. Another. The police are looking for any information that may lead to the arrest of the murderers, they don't know anything, of a 12-year-old boy in a black area, 7 o'clock at night. It is alleged that the deceased was found dead by his parents, who arrived from town, and he was found with an open wound to his skull. The suspects are not known at this stage, and the motive for the killing is also unclear. Recreational murder, happy days. What motive for killing a 12-year-old do you have? Huh? Really? What's the motive for killing a 12-year-old? Get a break. Really, wake up. South Africa is a different level. Armed home invasion. Granny, mom and 2 young children traumatized. Let's see here. Last night, on the 10th of July 2018, just after 10 o'clock at night, female resident was watching TV with her elderly mother and 2 children that were playing in the house in Elandsfontein, Lanseria. So that might be white or Indians, or even the coloreds. I'm not sure who stays in Lanseria originally, back in the segregated days. It's either colored people or, I think, Indians, I'm not sure. By the way, I might be totally wrong. She heard strange noises and thought it was the children. The children were told to be quiet. The daughter replied that it was not them, but the suspects are at the glass sliding door trying to open it. The elderly woman, followed by her daughter, went to investigate. The suspects by then had almost forced their way through the door. She ran to the door leading from the interior of the house to the garage. She attempted to open the garage door, but it was too heavy. By then the 4 armed suspects were already inside, and they held up the granny and the children and forced them into the lounge. So, another middle class family being tortured and being intimidated and beaten up and all of that crap by a gang, armed gang. Recreational violence in South Africa, we like it, yo. Dude, that's the way we do it. Suspects wore balaclavas and gloves and dark clothing, blah 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 blah. The end, it's all the same. They say one of the people spoke of a Zimbabwean accent. There are millions of illegal Zimbabweans in South Africa at the moment. Millions. Either way. I know nice Zimbabweans as well. They're not all bad. Some of them are really nice. It's a shame what's happening to their country as well. Either way, there you have it. House break-ins. Recreational violence ruining lives.